This is like if the fucking Mr. Beast had killed fucking Apollo Creed. Imagine how depressing that would be. Like, throw in the towel. Mr. Beast killing him. He's going to work on his body. Like, I can't handle knowing that your Kanavi's just going to get in that ass and fucking treat Peanut like he owes him money. Fucking hell, I can't handle it. I don't want to see Peanut fucking walk around holding Kanavi's pocket in a national tournament. So I'll join you for now. We'll just see how my life does to the business. They draft cynically and they win anyway. But I'm scared. I'm scared about that Kanavi angle, mate. I'm scared that he's finally going to fucking reveal himself to the Jedi and get his revenge at last. Then also the obvious question is, and I'm just going to say it right now, this is perfect, Yamato, because if you ever wanted some shit talk, I'm just going to say it right now. Carmine Corp going to get in that Team Liquid ass. I'm just saying it right now, but bro, listen, I don't hate your Team Liquid. I like teams with macro, etc. Not going to even matter. I think Carmine Corp's going to get in that ass. This is the right team for it, mate. This looks like the right team to fuck him up.
I think Team Liquid by the patch is that we talked about before the show because they released it's like First Stand is not going to have lane swaps. They took lane swaps out the back and shot them in the head. And I think also Team Liquid's chances at the same time.
Does it tell you that we played whole splits in all the regions? Then we get to the first national tournament, like, yeah, just get rid of all that. It's like, what were we doing this whole time? What were we doing?
I think it might be like the most egregious change. Like I think it's like top 3 most egregious patches because it's like, bro, it's in 1 week. Yeah. Like, what are we doing? It's like at least the teams are practiced on non-lane swap scenarios. But even with the change they've made, it's like I did this. I tagged Riot Froxen as like, oh, deal with this one, Riot. This is a lane swap variant where basically like I presented as like, oh, you put your AD mid, support in top lane, starts bot, do one wave, cross into mid because basically they changed, so 215 was the lane swap marker for mid lane. But now they've changed it, so it's 330. And it just removes a lot of roam timers that supports usually have. You can crash 2 or 3 into cross into mid, crash 4 into cross into mid, and you're not going to be able to do that because you're going to have this alert. Get the fuck out of here, get the fuck out of here at 330 in mid lane. So this change, while they wanted to remove lane swaps completely, they've now removed like a very important element of the game just because they wanted to remove this one lane swap that I offered. I'm not gonna take the credit that I forced this change, but like the tweet popped off, you know, and they did change it in the patch notes after they presented something completely different. But Team Liquid is a team that's gonna get fucked the most out of this because these are the guys that are masters of this. They draft skewed very much towards that, and for them to adjust that is really, really, really bad. I think KC should be favored against them. I've watched every single Team Liquid game, and like if you know the analogy you made for Kanavi versus Peanut, that's Yike versus Umti as well, bro. Right. That's like Umti is so terrible without the upside. You can make a highlight reel of some of the biggest sabotages that he's done for his team. He was serviceable. But I think in the finals, but I think that came down to like everybody else stepping up. Like Team Liquid found their groove with APA in his champion pool again. They found Ziggs angles early on soul angles. He looked like himself again. And I think that Ko JJ was just a demon in the finals weekend. Like absolute crazy what he did in terms of the team fighting and in terms of the play. Like everyone just kind of kicked it up a notch while Umti just stuck there. It's like it's as if they were in the locker room. It's like Umti went to the bathroom. It's like, guys, we need to fucking play better because this guy is gonna fucking drag us back. So either we fucking step the fuck up and or we're gonna fall. The ship is just gonna sink here. Then he comes back in the room and says, oh, welcome, Umti. Yeah, you're good? You feeling good? You wanna play Scanner? You wanna play Scanner? Hey, big Scanner, man. Yeah. And then they look at each other and then they have to step up to the plate because that's pretty much what they did. And then speaking of coaching, I don't know, Spawn has such a fucking aura. Like he just came back in. I know I'm covering LTA now, but it's like it's in connection with KC, right? It's like Spawn flying from Australia and then all of a sudden Team Liquid look like a whole different team again. I don't know. It's like it's hard to measure coaches from outside, but this can't be a coincidence, right? It just can't be a coincidence.
I mean, my joke is I know exactly how you get out of this, Umti, because you've already dug yourself so deep with all the stupid comments on Twitter and interviews. Here's what you say, Umti. You say, yes, but anyone can have a bad year or two. I'm going best of 3 of years. And that way only these first year and a half or so account, and you got another year and a half. So no, that you have to be creative with this, mate. You have to go best of 3 of years. You know, see, just 2 out of 3. Just do that basically all the time. Because I'm with you, Yamato. This is sad. Like at this point in time, you remember Umpty is like a mega veteran. People don't realize he was playing a career like 1 billion years ago. He's been in a lot of different teams. So the idea he's the one shitting the bed is really disturbing to me, because here's the thing, Yamato. I am going to use the analogy. He's not even just shitting the bed out of, like, you know, youthful folly. This is like an old decrepit man shitting his bed, like, oh, what? Who put all this in my bed? Like, oh, that was you, Umpty. You did that. You're the one who shit your own bed. Like, oh, I would never. This is disgusting. I would never do this. Like, oh, tell you what. Make him a fucking cup of tea, will you? Let's fucking... It's all right, we'll clean you up, Umpty. It's all right. Look, yeah, it's all good, mate. Yeah, oh, look, oh, easy objectives. Just go when Core JJ says. You can do that, can't you? Yes, Core JJ. He is an up-and-coming AD carry who will go to the LC. No, Umpty, that was years ago, mate. You're losing the plot again. Tell you what, bring it in. They bring in, like, you know, like when people actually have Alzheimer's, they bring in, like, the original OGN Champions music, and when they play it, it's like it excites the memory. Oh, yeah. Oh, where's Flame and Mad Life for them? Oh, it's fucking sick. I can't wait to join the league. And they're like, Umpty, you're on death's door, mate. It's just getting bad at this point in time. So I'm with you, mate. If there was ever anyone whose position just screamed out, just upgrade this one motherfucker, it was that guy. And I'm just going to put this out there. You're an import too, bro. You're an import. You're an import. Why are we importing this? Also, I'll just throw this out there. That's also why it's actually sad, because if you look at the rest of their squad, you can still redeem the rest of that team. There's still like enough there. I mean, with you, like when like we go away from Fearless, I could even see them being really good again. By the way, isn't that another team, Yamato? You just look at and you go, it's the other way around. That just shows me how good Spawn and the coaching staff were the previous year. Like when they didn't have Fearless, so they couldn't get exposed, they used to look like the best drafting team. Even though you can tell they were quite cynical about who they used to draft around and what holes they would cover for certain people. But they were doing a fucking awesome job at it. Like no one actually could see the weaknesses for the first like half a year or so. Yeah.
Oh, these guys were insanely compact. Like compact in the sense is like, oh, we are gonna scrim and practice surrounding 3-4 champions and revolve all our strategy around that. Because the big shift up for Team Liquid coming into Worlds was that, oh, Corki, Tristana are a lot weaker, and that's what made them scramble so fucking hard. We saw those moments from APA, like the Syndra against the Weibo Gaming. There were like moments like his Nico should be good, but it just wasn't in that series too. And they just seem to be a team that, like, in terms of being precise in choosing what to practice is a very important skill. Like I can imagine like a team like Fnatic to have too wide of a spread in terms of what they practice, because they are very, very loose and they are picking things depending on what they see. But you're going to sacrifice precision for that. And Team Liquid did the opposite. It's like they practice super compact, fearless, should be insanely difficult for them. But I think the key thing for them was that these series that they played, the LTA format was so ass that there was only one best of 5. There was only one fucking best of 5. And that one best of 5 was very smooth and quick. Okay. They didn't go ever to the deep end. So they did manage to like hide their potential weaknesses of what the next evolutions are. Because I do think APA, CoJJ, and Umpty and Impact are players that want to play like 3-4 specific champions. Impact, I think that CoJJ and Impact, I think they're experienced enough to like pull out like pocket picks they've had in their career. It's like Impact can always pull out a GP or a Mordekaiser, even if he played it fucking 3 years ago. It doesn't matter. So they have like legend status. Yeah. You're allowed to do that shit when you can. So maybe less so on them, but Umpty and APA definitely. Like looking at who, like I have watched some LCP, but very, very limited. But even knowing that the Flying Oyster jungle is Junjia, like there is a chance that Junjia also does nasty things to Umpty.
Good player. Yeah, he's not bad.
Is a very, very good player. I think like how I would summarize the LCP right now, though, it's very, very chaotic. I think anyone that approaches the game with any sense of like disciplined or like macro-oriented gameplay, I think that you will be able to find like value against the LCP teams. Right. I think the LCP teams are very, very scrappy. But if there's ever a meta where you kind of benefit from being scrappy, kind of like a 100 Thieves kind of way, I do think, maybe they can do some damage. But Team Liquid also could easily take a step back and just farm efficiently on side and not fall for the overgrouping that is 100 Thieves. So I do think that the LCP team flying also should be a last. But this is me only watching maybe I've watched 2.5 best of fives from the region. So I caveat that a little asterisk there on my info.
If for some reason Kanavi doesn't just MVP this whole tournament, shit on all everyone, Viego picks all over the place, no one can, assuming Hanwha Life actually win, then my dream is I want them to win in the final Yamato in game 5. Because then I want to make a ridiculous graphic of Zika as Thanos from the Avengers, making a gauntlet of bullshit best of 5, like game 5 wins. So I'll have Worlds, LCK Cup, fucking first stand. I want this guy in a world because you know what? I've turned evil at this point in time. Since Chovy and Knight can't just win everything and get their whole fucking career completed. Fuck it. In that case, no one gets to win who's good. Now Zika's going to win everything. There you go. Zika is inevitable. He's going to win all the fucking. He's going to have the Thanos gauntlets of all the championships. He's going to complete the whole. In fact, you know what? We'd go for the Zika Game 5 Golden Slam. There you go, motherfuckers. If the people I want to win can't win, then I'm going to ruin the whole thing. We're just going to have this motherfucker win. And then when he wins everything, Faker fans, I'm just going to say logically he must be the greatest player of this era and better than Faker because he'll have won more championships. So as soon as he gets more, we'll just ruin all the narratives. There you go. You want to ruin my shit with Chovy? I'll ruin your whole shit with Faker then. All right. How you like that, eh? You like this game of attrition we're playing? Exactly. Anyway.
You know, an additional detail is something we haven't talked about is Hanwha Life's coaching staff. Well, they got Dandy and Mowgli. They got fucking world champions, you know? They're also fucking cooking and brewing, and I think they did a good job. Like, those game 5s, obviously you're limited by what your players offer, but those game 5s, like, the preparation was always on their side coming into those
Mate, one
matches.
thing I think you have to give them mad props for on Hanwha Life is they did actually empower Zeus on their fucking team and clearly did just give him like picks he wanted. Like he didn't like I've always said I always thought his additional value in T1 was he looked like he was just willing to do whatever you told him to do, quite frankly, except those rare times where he was like, give me Vayne or whatever the fuck. Like he had his weird picks he would do sometimes, but in this team it looks like, and this is what I love, is you're going to bring in a big name free agent signing like this, they fucking empower him, bro. Like what you did in this fucking LCK run, which was awesome, is you did show T1 what they were missing. You were like, this is the one guy you don't have, and look what he's doing on our team. Because I agree with you, mate. There's a world where he just is the MVP of this whole tournament, and Hanwha Life's going to win, yeah.
It's exciting, bro. I think we mentioned it on the previous episode, but I think Zeus coming into this as the best player in the world, and looking at the top lane field, it's like, in terms of the matchup that I'm most excited for in top lane is just Zeus versus Kana. Because I think in terms of like the archetype, I do think Kana matches closer to Zeus than any of the other players. Like Impact and 369 are very specific players, and we've seen that Zeus versus them matchup. So I'm just hyped to see Kana versus Zeus, and I'm hoping the way the bracket plays out, because these single round robin matchups are so damn important in terms of how your seeding is going to be. Sure. Like if you're assuming that Hanwha Life and Top Esports is going to be 1 and 2, it's like getting 3 and 4 is going to be the difference between playing against Top Esports and Hanwha Life in their first best of 5. And I think that KC versus Top Esports, I hope that's the matchup that happens, because I think that's where we might see the most sparks fly, because I think Hanwha Life is going to be very, very tough to upset. And if anyone's going to do it, it should be Top Esports. But Top Esports is a team that can be upsettable because of all the things we mentioned, the names, the players, the internationals, you know, it's like all in the air. But in the end, they have a new coach, and the guy is special.
By the way, I want to ask you this. So it was implied that because apparently like the viewership was so amazing for LCK, like it said here that the peak viewers was like 1.9 million concurrent, which is fucking amazing. So apparently that was like the second highest viewership in LCK history. Only behind 2024 spring, which was the one that was like the Faker versus Chovy mega fucking finals matchup. It said that the peak viewership of the whole competition was 3.5 times higher than last year's winter, the 2025 one. No, they must be 2024. They've typoed that. They mean last year again. So the rumor goes that they're now just going to potentially make just the next split Fearless as well. Like it'll just be Fearless from LCK. What would you think if they do that? Would you be pro or against it?
I think the weird thing will be is if it doesn't match the global calendar. Like that's what's so weird, because it's like if they play a split of Fearless and nobody else does, Like, how the fuck are you going to treat MSI? Like, it's going to be so weird. It's like, sure, they practice a very specific skill set, and they're going to have a very, very, like a widespread. But if we think about why, like, the LPL teams have won MSI besides Genji in the previous one, is usually because they like come in and they have a very narrowed down strategy, and they won the league with that. And usually coming into MSI, there's no changes. Like, I think about like JDG, how they won. It was like team fighting, front to back compositions. They played that every game with the Lulu and the Rakan and the Jinx and the Aphelios. Very, very practiced on that. It's like Fearless. Historically, I don't think it's going to give you the edge that you would want coming into MSI if it's going to be regular, because it is double elimination, unless of course the format changes. But I doubt that's going to happen. Right? It's going to be double elimination. Double elimination, I think, favors precision. That's why, like, we are like elitist in terms of like what we think about what competition should be and the accuracy of it. Like, in an ideal world, it would be best of 11 if I could choose, just to really determine the winner by every metric. And I think in double elimination, it all comes down to like how precise teams are, because certain traps you fall for once, it doesn't happen again. You can take LEC as an example. It's like KC got smashed by G2. Let's say that was the finals instead, and then the whole story would be different. It's like now we had the double elimination, and certain traps they fell for in that series don't happen again. And I hope, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we move to Fearless at some point globally, but I would be surprised if LCK push this through. I'm sure they're in the communication with the other leagues too. But then once again, LTA is going to be so fucked because they went back to BO1s.
Yeah. No, they will just be so far behind. It'll be pathetic, won't it? I know. BO1s and no Fearless, that means, because logically you can't have Fearless and BO1, can you? So no, it'd be so dumb, mate. Like, what's weird about that is you would just make LTA have an even worse chance if they go internationally. Like, they'd have almost no chance to compete, I feel like.
That's awful. I don't know why they regress to BO1s, but I guess LTA is just, as you mentioned, the person that holds the pocket to the other leagues. If the other leagues want to do something, want to move on something, I think those are the decisions that we made, because viewership is king. And I do think Fearless is just more fun for the average viewer, because from an excitement standpoint, there's some funky ass game 5s. But it's crazy how some narratives are built, because like T1, like I remember reading a thread and people were worried about like side balance, like imbalance when it came like red against blue. I looked through it. Like, I manually went through every single blue side victory, and there were certain cases that were outliers. But my conclusion was that if the draft swaps side, then that side would win. And I think it just comes down to teams moving into like series as they open up. On blue side, a lot of the things that you're going to do are predetermined. Your 1, 2, 3, very predetermined. Red side is very reactionary. You have to adjust real time, and then you end up with like a T1 game 5 draft where they have fucking Zoe, Akali, and all that jazz. That's their reaction to what was happening, because they see Olaf blind. They didn't expect Olaf blind, and obviously coming into that series, into that final game, they are thinking already, what if we blind? We're gonna ban these champions and blind pick Olaf. They're like, blue side is already predetermined, and I think over time that shit just balances itself out. Because I know there was like concerns about blue side being OP, which the data definitely indicates now. But looking a little bit deeper, going a little deeper, there were scenarios often as well where the higher seed team chooses side first and they just end up winning too.
Oh, see, right. And that team would have won anyway, right?
There was like certain cases, like Nongshim got some upset victories. I think like BNK Fearex was a team that got like Hisante and Zeri on blue side and took some upset victories because they were the 10th place team and won on blue side. But other than that, I think it's just a question of going into those deeper series, knowing exactly what you want to draft and the enemy needing to react. That's what like I found looking through it like manually, which is like 100 games plus in the LCK.
Well, the thing is, right, at the end of the day, I think the problem, Yamato, is sometimes Riot listens, but they don't listen every day, do they? So what they need is Raycon everyday earbuds. Friends, Rioters, lend me your earbuds because I need to listen. Now, if you don't know, these earbuds have a lot of good features to them. Like, first of all, they have a 32-hour battery life, so you don't even need to remember to charge them every day. We all know people are lazy if they're gamers and don't always forget to put it onto the nightstand or whatever, wherever you have your charging device. You can also pair two devices at once because it has the multi-point connectivity. Speaking of charging the battery, if you forget, if you don't get a chance to fully charge it, it has the quick charge function. So 10 minutes worth of charging actually equals 90 minutes worth of battery. All of this, by the way, at around half the price of usual premium audio brands with similar comparable features. They have every type of color you could imagine, vibrant colors, classic sheen styles, etc. By the way, I actually just like the classic black ones. I like them to blend in, but if you want to stand out, you could do that with Raycon also. They have obviously their best feature is the active noise cancellation, so you can drown out all the sounds in the background, which means things like if you're in the gym, you don't have to hear that guy. It's like, mate, give it a fucking rest when you're doing a leg press about 30 kilograms on it. Like, just calm down. You're not actually a hero here. So thankfully you don't have to listen to that dickhead. You can just be listening to your fucking Jedi magic. Like, exactly. Get fucking that boom bap hard shit, hard body rap. Exactly. And on this pussy or shit anyway. So then you can also drown out like fucking babies. That's right. Someone just fucking came inside someone and now that's a screaming alive in the world. You can just drown that out. Just fucking just in your someone insight, Yamato. Yes, I think in the draft there, what they could have done was gone B3 with the ban on the volley bear there. You can just be listening to all his ASMR shit on this podcast, all on Spotify, all the rest of that jazz, hook it into a bunch of different devices, switch over to I Will Dominate. What are we doing? What are we doing? Maybe what are we doing? Oh my God, we're doing so, oh my God, we used to play Dignitas like Piglet. Just Piglet for no reason gets random there. Anyway, you can listen to all this shit as the point. And if you do it with Raycon Air Club. So go to buyraycon.com/LFN to get 20% off the best-selling everyday earbuds. It's brought to you by Raycon, buyraycon.com/LFN. Any shots to fellow members of the Last Free Nation Network were purely coincidental and no malicious. There's just, we're just selling product here, boys. We're moving product. That's what I do. What can I tell you? That's what I do. Okay. But anyway, let's talk about some League of Legends, I guess. Right. I've got a question, though. There is actually some stuff that did change. So first of all, I think it was during that live episode, like last week, we spent the whole time talking. And then as we were talking, they were like, Hextech chests are back. Like, so they're just back now. Who knows why, but they're just back now. What do you think of that? They're back already. Okay.
Well, I think that, Riot did say that they are heading towards economical disaster, and that's why they need to remove the Hextech chest. I think they found some money, under some pillow somewhere, some in a cupboard, maybe in the piggy bank. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. It's the craziest part of me about this is that even though I think discourse in general is a little bit crazy in a lot of cases, I do think that the consumer has gotten smarter in a way, in a sense that the average person that listened to their PR speak is what the fuck are you saying, man? What are we saying? It's like in the opening of the video, they're like, our changes didn't land where we expected them to land. It's like, well, where the fuck did you expect them to land? On fucking Mars or what?
They did also do that thing where it was the video, with the guy with the AK-47s off camera, now you read fucking script. It was one of those weird videos, wasn't it? It had that weird sort of thing of please everyone stop getting angry at us.
I feel bad for the people that need to be in front of the camera, when decision makers above their heads, made some decisions and so forth, and they need to explain it away. But it took them so long. But the main thing for me when I watched that, I was so Hextech chests, let's see now, is the conclusion going to be that we get less, or people going to get more? But basically in theory, the conclusion is that you get more in a total calendar year. If you play enough to get through the battle pass, you can basically get more chests than you got previously, which is nice. I think that the changes they did usually, Riot's strategy has been, we're gonna nerf something. Oh, sorry guys, we went too far. We listened to the community, and then they give you they take your hand and it's here, take your pinky back. forgive us. And then that has like usually worked. But here I thought they're going to pull the same. So they're going to give us just our pinky back. But here they give back your hand, and it's just like a little bit of like there's a golden ring on it, maybe just some slight upgrades. Okay. The main thing that people are pissed off about is the fact that you need to play a lot more. But I think from a business standpoint, if people get rewarded for playing more and spending time in your game, that should always be like the incentive point. It's like you want people inside of your game. It's the equivalent of keeping people inside of your shop. It's like the fucking IKEA model. There's a fucking restaurant that operates on a negative, and you can have your IKEA family card, you get free coffee, and there's always people there hanging out, chatting, and they are in the IKEA shop. You think of fucking furniture, you're gonna fucking buy it there, you know, because you have these big ad posters, everything is there, you're spending time inside of the shop. It's kind of like the Apple experience, whatever. It was like that Office episode when they were trying to sell the triangle, and they're like, we're going to open a shop just so they spend time in our shop. You know, this is the whole theory. And I think this is a good approach. It's like people that play a lot get rewarded. I think that makes sense. Before it was like, oh, get S+, get a chest. And that's something that could be farmed very easy. And I think this creates a wider spread, because I think in the data, there's a lot of players that like to play the same champion over and over again. And those people got punished in the previous like alteration of this. So this is a positive change. It's a good change. But I think the PR hit, I don't know how skeptical everyone's going to be about the next thing. Because on top of the Hextech chest thing, they also said we're going to release less of the fucking big skins that we're putting out. Yep. And we're going to fine tune it, which I think is also a big one. Because the skins they are releasing is just straight slop. It's just slop. I sat down and compared it, because I think people are willing to spend money if it's good skins. The Arcane Jace that they released, that's such a fucking banger skin. It's like a $20 skin. I fucking felt the need to buy that one right away. Everyone plays it. Everybody loves it. And that's after like fucking T1 Zeus released the skin. Maybe they did that to fuck with him because he didn't sign with T1. Because like Riot is also pissed that the ZFGK roster is not continuing. So they also plan merch releases, and they wanted to do the next Hall of Fame inductees or something to milk. I have no clue. But they released that Arcane J skin. That is quality work. So they are very, very capable. But it seems like the most recent skin line that happened, also, I don't remember the name of it, but it also looks so fucking generic. So there's definitely like a lot of things and a lot of departments that need to upgrade. And what do you think about the whole PR situation with the Hextech chess?
I mean, the weirdest part about it is, if you are Riot and you want people to believe you, you did just go about it the worst way possible. Because as you said, they almost made it like, look, our hands are tied. We can't even afford to do this. It basically, like, it's impossible. Look, that was a different time. Back in the day, it used to be so cheap to get bread and milk, and everyone could just have as much as they wanted. But now we've got to ration it. Oh, what's that? Has everyone burnt? Are the villagers burning the castle to the ground? Have all the stuff back again. It's back. Forget yada yada yada, whatever I said there, don't worry about that. It's all back. And are you happy now? Are you happy? Can you go away now? That just makes it seem like none of it was true. Like, just makes it seem like you just saying any old shit, and now you've reversed position. Because Riot does have the worst problem ever, which is they do that political thing where they can't ever just go, my bad, I fucked up, but I've changed my mind. They have to always go, it's good that you told me, because I actually also, before you even told me, myself sort of felt like this wasn't the right move. And I agree with you. So basically, you agree with me. And I was right all along. And so I'm going to bring back what I just changed. It's like, why do you always have to like gaslight me as well at the same time? Just say we fucked up and this was more popular than we expected or something. Because I do think it's weird. Like, the real problem they have right now for me is this, Yamato. They have to really actually figure out what is our direction in terms of all the cosmetics. Because as far as I can tell, it's implied that like they are just going to go this sort of gacha / fucking like super cynical approach, which by the way is probably a really good strategy. I'm not know it makes fuck tons of money. It's just that's not what people think traditionally of League of Legends, and they've always made League of Legends in the past seem like, it's just like to reward you, the viewer, where it's like, no, this is to make money, which by the way is fine. If you want that to be the new model, go cynical, be like skins in every game where you just make them you bring out the new one just to pump the market, etc. Do all that shit, tie it into all the players if you want. I just think it's just silly, because what you're doing is, if you don't want people to complain like this, you have just rewarded them literally for doing it. Like, everyone did lose their minds as though you'd like taken fucking the champion out the game or something. And then once too many people complain, you just reversed course, and then even sort of publicly admitted as much, like, oh shit, if you complain loads, I guess you get everything you want, which is like, that's a terrible strategy for little kids that are screaming. Just give them whatever they want. Is that enough? You stop crying now? Like, that's going to be the worst strategy ever. So I just want to see where this goes, mate. Because I actually do worry in general. Like, I get the feeling that there's just a point in time where Riot will just say, I don't care about League anymore. And they'll just focus completely on Valorant. And what if this, I mean, maybe it depends on if some of the new games actually have any success when they come out, the fighting game and all that shit. But it feels like between that and Arcane, they're just horny to not do League of Legends stuff, mate. I don't know what it is. To me, it's still a huge game. You could still be massive.
It's just every indicator points to that the league is just the cash cow for everything else, because it's like the investment seems to be far greater into Valorant, which of course from a business standpoint, knowing that you have far more competition there with CS:GO and other shooters, it's like makes sense to make a bigger push there, because I think regardless of what Dota fans are going to tell me now, it's like League has won. Like League has won the MOBA market that is not even like close, not even remotely close. And I wonder if from their standpoint, like I think it's like recruiting new players to this game just seems to be impossible. Like I think it's just the vicious cycle of any game. It's like if you wanted people to learn how to play the Warcraft 3 standard mode or StarCraft standard mode, like that is one of the most alienating experiences that you can have. It's fun to see now, like Soda Pop and Tyler One are playing like Warcraft 3, but that game is so damn hard if you play like the standard game. But I think the main thing is what I'm worried about is like the engine limitations in terms of creating ways to be like to play the game differently. Like if they find ways for people to use skins in different ways, because like the mistake in my opinion was they did the game mode where like you had to like kill all these monsters and you walked around and it was like this fucking sandbox with these bosses, whatever. And that was like super cool, but you couldn't use your skins like in the game mode. You had a predetermined skin, you had the Odyssey skins, whatever, in the previous one as well. And I think if they create more ways for people to play the game, that would be like the way forward. Because for me, the bottom line is, are people spending time in your client? That is like the key metric. Like make sure that people spend time in your client, and then you can push whatever the fuck you want on them, as long as there's ways to play and there's like good cosmetics to buy. But I think that the engine limitation, I don't know from a standpoint in terms of with the game and how it's been built, it seems like it's so resource heavy to do anything creative, because it takes them a lot of time to set up arena, it took them a lot of time to set up the other things. And if they could, churn out these at a bigger pace, there's a lot of different like game modes that you can create that are insanely interesting. But it just seems like it's so damn difficult because of just limitations to the game engine.
I also do feel like this might be a boomer take, but I wonder, because you're sort of at the tail end of the generation that these games came out of, Yamato. One of the things I've always thought is really narrow-minded is that they've made it so that, like, essentially the only people who can make game modes in League of Legends are Riot themselves, and they have to sort of think of it as like almost another way of playing the game and bring it out. If you do, you not only get rid of game modes when you just decide you don't want them anymore, you bring in the new ones, etc. Well, the weirdest thing is, if people don't know, if there wasn't a possibility to mod League of Legends, the game wouldn't exist. It was just Warcraft 3 that turned into Dota All-Stars, that turned into League. And in fact, I made this video in the past many years ago. Almost every major game began as a mod of a different game. Like Counter-Strike came from Half-Life and Quake. Things like fucking Overwatch came from Team Fortress, which was actually a Quake mod once upon a time. And then it had a Half-Life version that was TF2 in fucking Half-Life engine. Almost every single major esport game, like PUBG and stuff like that, came out of H1Z and all that shit. Like essentially all the next games come from modding. And the reason why I actually do think, like, what I would have done is this: if I was Riot, I would have had it be a bit like, if you know in Brood War, how you'd have like the arcade shit where people could add their own modes. Bro, you could have had so many fun different modes you could make in League. Like, think about how in Warcraft everyone played those like tower defense mods and stuff. You could do something with like one certain class in fucking League. I don't know, maybe you have a game where it's like you Cogmore firing against things that are coming at waves of armies that are minions coming in against you, and you have to destroy them all before they get to your base. So you could do so many sort of fun little things. And the reason why, to me, this would be so good in League is not only would it provide like a casual mode, so everything's not hardcore ranked, which is too hardcore for like an average player. But also, I always think in the modern day, like if you ever see Koreans, they play all those like little mini games while they wait for the queue to pop. While they wait like 20 minutes, they're like playing some like single player game, like an arcade game. But you should have those games like built into the fucking screen or something. I want to like play a little Tetris or something while I'm waiting for the draft to finish and my champion to come out. I feel like there's so many things that are from the old school of esports or gaming you could just add back in. That just make it fun, you know. Just make it like actually have more of. It's not only like I'm playing these three things. It's too hardcore. It's too hardcore, bro.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
It's like even looking at all the single player games that retain all their player bases. It's like Skyrim. It's crazy how many concurrent players and how many re-releases they did of Skyrim that sold well due to the modding community. It's like whether it was textures or whether it was new different scenarios. Same thing with Baldur's Gate 3. Warcraft 3 is a great example as well. It's like that when the core game becomes too difficult, it's like inviting people to play something that is so simple. It's like I love Warcraft 3. I played the competitive variant of Warcraft 3. But then it's like with my friends, we played like Footy Wars, we played Tower Defense. This is very easy things to get into.
Yeah.
They're very intuitive. And I think even looking at, like, I know there's this creator called Dums. Like he creates game modes in what is available. Like find what is not what is like finding whatever is like the champion in the screen, and they use like these fucking different like skins for the champions that they implement to the game. There's like people play like Mundo Dodgeball. Like, that's a very simple thing, right? People play Mundo Dodgeball, they put words in a line and they put Mundo Dodgeball in the Nasher pit. So there is definitely, like, I think if this was something that was available to the community, if they said, we created this tool for people to create their own game modes, and there's going to be people out there that are going to spend thousands of hours into this. Because people are intrigued, people want to. That happened in Warcraft 3, and it was something that people did, that they did it at zero cost. That's how you keep a game alive and fresh. And it's like, for me, always with competitive games, most fun aspect is the beginning, the arms race to become the best. And now to get in 15 years later into League, wow, I would never. That's just fucking too scary of a month to
what
climb.
you're nailing as well is this is where we have actually, as gamers, lost a type of gaming that was cool, which is not every type of gaming's trying to be like a sportsman and be the absolute best at that game. That's like really hardcore competition. One of the classic forms of gaming were the games where you could play even if you're bad, you're Marto. Like back in the day, fucking Worms is a classic one. We control Bomberman. Like these are just like basic ass games, but the whole point is everyone of every skill level can play it. It's sort of fun, even if you're the shit one. The problem with games like League, if everything has to be hardcore, we're only playing ranked. I'm trying to play the best win rate champion, and we're trying to make real that's you've already limited by filters so many people out of the game. Like I've always felt like that was actually the flaw for me with League, is like you got a giant like bazillions of people, but we're all pretending we're all going to become Chovy. Like we're not. That's not even what most people want from a gaming experience. They want something like halfway between that's fun to play, that's well matched and all that sort of shit, you know. So I do feel like League sometimes loses its way in that sense, but a lot of the esports have, like I say, some of it's just even also limiting what other people can do with the game. It's just you have to be the one that comes up with the next mode or the next concept, because that is one area where it's funny that Riot keeps commissioning all these other games, because I always just think, bro, think about how many things you haven't explored with your own game. You could do so, like you could even just make another map again. Why has that never even been thought of? Like make like an actual 5v5 proper mode, but like recreate what the map would be like, do a different concept if you want. I mean, I feel like there's so much to explore there, because everyone still just does so much based off the Dota map. Like there's so many different concepts you could come up with there if you were a visionary. I'm not saying I am. I'm not a game designer like that, man, but I feel like there's surely there's people out there who fucking revel and trying to come up with something genius that we never thought of before.
Oh, sure. As I like looking at some of like these indie games that have been like so fucking successful, there's like some smaller games that are just exploded in popularity off of one person. It's like Stardew Valley is such a good example of this guy. It's like, just did fucking everything when it came to this one game, and it's so damn popular. As like if someone made like a farmer game where you're like a little Timo that like plants shit in bushes and shit, like, I would play that. Like if someone would create that, and it's like the thing is, it's like if people create that and you can just squash them like a bug and take their work. This is from a business standpoint.
Yeah, no,
It's like, this is your IP. This is you. You have full control over everything. Blizzard made the mistake in Warcraft 3 that they didn't have like full control over everything that was created in the Warcraft 3 editor, which they changed later for Wings of Liberty. But a good example is people were making vanilla World of Warcraft servers, and they were very, very active. Everyone loved it. And then at some point, Blizzard was like, okay, let's just squash these guys like a bug. Cease and desist. We're going to make our own. And then everyone plays it because the people wanted that. So you just need to get a better feeler for what people are enjoying too. Because I think that's the biggest struggle of these AAA fucking massive companies is that you need to put so much workforce behind something and you need to predict what the trend is going to be in the next years. We don't know what the big esports is going to be in the next couple of years. Sure, we can make some guesses. League of Legends is going to stick around. CS is going to stick around for sure. But maybe something new spawns. Maybe.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then. Or, be a pleb and don't.